Hi, my name is David Matthew, and I've made some of the discoveries that are going to answer some of the biggest mysteries in the world. And I wanted to share them with everybody. So, in order to get people to pay attention, I'm going to announce one of the biggest discoveries at the very start. And that discovery is the discovery of the secret of the pyramids and the Sphinx at Giza. So for 4,300 years, 5,000, 6,000 years, 10,000, 15,000 years, whatever it is, however long, however many engineers, mathematicians, machinists, everybody studied it, measured it, tried to figure out all the secrets, tried to figure out how they move these huge blocks. There's blocks that are adjacent to the pyramid and another part of the complex that are just huge, that are stacked on top of one another. And like I said, I figured out the answer. And so one of the things is that no one has come up with an answer yet, one single theory that answers all the facts that we know, or that we think we know. And those facts are based on physical evidence. So it's sort of hard to dispute those. We know the weight and the size of the average block used, and we can count the courses on the pyramid and calculate and figure out how many total blocks were used. And we know where the blocks were quarried from, so we can also add that to the total amount of expenditure and resources that it took to build these. So it's been calculated that the Great Pyramid used 2.3 million blocks to be built. And those blocks weighed an average of 2.5 tons. Some of them weighed a lot more. And so then people like to calculate and figure out, crunch the numbers, so to speak, and say, well, if they were able to put down one block every 2 minutes, it would have taken them 20 years to build this. So, you know, and they must have had some kind of building technique, because not only is there that structure next to the pyramids, but there's also Sacsayhuaman in Peru, Mahcu Picho, Peru, Baalbek, Lebanon, the terrace at Baalbek, Lebanon, which just uses huge blocks stacked on top of one another. So we know that they have some technique for stacking these huge blocks. We just don't know what it was. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to you right here. This is the secret. This is the biggest secret. I guess this hasn't been known since about for 6,000 years. And like I say, I've solved a bunch of other world mysteries. And I figure if I said this one first, then you'd maybe listen to the other ones. And I solved this one just about a week ago on Tuesday. I think it was a Tuesday. It was November 12th of this year, 2013. And right after I figured it out, at the moment I figured it out, I looked at the clock. It was 10 o'clock. And this was on the 12th of November. So anyhow, think about that. That's kind of weird. So, here we go. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? Here's the secret. The pyramids were not built. They were carved out. The Sphinx is the clue. Wow. Isn't that going to blow your mind? So, in other words, the whole thing is an illusion. What they did was they found this huge plateau, carved it down to the shape of pyramids, and then carved all kinds of lines in them to create the illusion that they were created with individual blocks. Then they went ahead and they carved the inside of it. And then to really complete the whole illusion, they found another source of similar material some distance away and carved and dressed that to look like the quarry where all the millions of blocks came from. So this actually, like I said, resolves several of the world's mysteries. And stay tuned, because I am going to announce some more discoveries that I made. Oh, another interesting thing too is, so since the secret hasn't been known since we've all been around for the last 6,000 years, then that means that the Egyptians didn't know it either. Because if they would have known it, then we would know it. They would have written it down somewhere. And so I think that these were built prior to the Great Flood. And then the Great Flood occurred and wiped out most of humanity, certainly all the people that knew the secret that I'm talking about, which is the secret that the pyramids are an illusion. And then, so then all those people disappeared, and the only thing left were these huge monuments all around the world, these huge stone monuments. So then eventually, civilization starts over from scratch, and they find these monuments. So what happens? I'll tell you what happens. I think the whole thing is completely switched around. I don't think Egyptian culture created the Sphinx and the pyramids. I think the Sphinx and the pyramids created Egyptian culture. Now that should blow your mind. So, that's where we're at. Again, my name is David Matthew, and I appreciate you listening. This was really hard to do. It took me a long time to get up the courage to do this. So, and the reason why was I didn't want to, one, I was nervous, and two, I just thought that if the mystery was solved, then it will sort of deprive future generations from a real good mental exercise. But in the end, I figured that mysteries are meant to be solved, and it must be time for us to know this, and maybe it's a sort of graduation of sorts. So, there it is, and talk to you later.